Welcome to Living Life on the Max with Keisha B. Spivey, a weekly podcast that will challenge you and encourage you to live your best life yet. Hello, thank you for tuning in to Living Life on the Max. I am Keisha Spivey and I'm your host for today's session. And we're going to pick up where we left off on last week. We started talking about navigating problems. It's the thing nobody wants to talk about. It's the thing we want to run away from. But it's the thing that we know in every area of our life, every day of our life, there's an opportunity for them to show up. So we've talked about identifying problems. We've talked about recognizing that they're a part of life and how to literally begin to backtrack from what appears to be the problem. Because sometimes we mistake the fruit from the root and we start whacking at the leaves when really it's the root system that's got a problem. And we talked about that a lot on last week. So if you missed that lesson, I encourage you to go back. But today we're going to continue our discussion on facing problems fearlessly. The quote we opened up with, and we have done this for the last several weeks, is we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. That's an Albert Einstein quote. And the reality is this: if you could fix the problem, if you knew the answer and could work yourself out of it with the same mindset that you had, would you really have the problem? Wouldn't that kind of be like insanity? To keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting some different results. So today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. You know, you've all heard the phrase, the pink elephant in the room, and that actually started, I think it was about 25 years ago, when there was a family sitting in a living room, and the kids were doing TV, the dad was reading the newspaper, mom was working on some crochet, and there was this really big pink elephant sitting in the middle of the living room. And I think the slogan underneath said, "Can you see what it is or identify the thing that should not be there?" And the whole premise of the pink elephant in the room is really asking the question, is something wrong? And the problem is most people say no. If you look at this little picture I put up here, are you good? Yeah, I'm good. Really, if the person was good, would the other person in the room really be asking the question? It's already stated that there's something not right. Are you sure? Clearly, there's an issue in this room. Look at that pink elephant sitting on the couch. It's kind of moved in. It's made itself comfortable. And really, when you think about this pink elephant, it applies to the problems that we have in our life that we don't want to address. So we pretend that everything is fine. We ignore that thing. Our typical reaction to the pink elephant is really one of four ways. The first thing that we do is we flee from it. We try to escape the problem. The problem with trying to run from a problem is that the problem's going to follow you. You may change locations. You may change your peer group. You may change where you go to church. You may change where you go to work. But if the problem isn't addressed, guess what? Wherever you show up, the problem's going to show up with you. So fleeing from a problem only prolongs the amount of time you have to deal with the thing, or the amount of times that you're going to keep right on running from the thing until you literally face that thing and deal with it. So our first response to the pink elephant is to flee from it. The second response is we want to forget it. We want to hope that it goes away. If we don't think about it, if we don't bring any attention to it, we deny it exists, then just maybe with time, it will fix itself or it'll take care of itself. And so we actually want to forget it and just hope it away. The problem is, if you don't face that thing, you keep denying the existence of that thing. It's kind of like a snowball. With time, you just keep rolling it, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger, and it becomes dangerous. What could have happened if you would have chosen to face that thing before you allowed that thing to grow, and you had to still deal with it at a deeper level? The third thing that we do is we fight it. Problems show up on the scene, we fight it, we resist it. The challenge is the thing that we resist persist. I'm going to say that again. The challenge is the thing that we resist, it persists. And problems, they're not an exception to that rule. We fight it. We try to, go up against that thing we try to do everything outside of the fourth thing that I want to tell you to do today when it comes to problems is to face it. Deal with it. Look at issues realistically through the lens of faith and deal with it. If this problem has presented itself to you, it's probably an indicator that there's an opportunity waiting for you on the other side. But until you grow up, until you show up, until you suit up, until you faith up and face this thing in its current state, you're not ready to pursue the thing that's on the other side. Maybe it's your character that's not ready. Maybe it's your finances that's not ready. Maybe it's your emotional maturity or your intelligence or your experience. Something inside of you isn't ready, which means it has to be developed, which means it has to be worked on. It has to be pruned off. It has to be dealt with so that you can get the skill set, you can get the experience, you can get the strength that you need to become who you need to be so that when you get to the other side of this hurdle or this obstacle, you realize all along it was simply an opportunity. It was an opportunity for you to become more. It was an opportunity for you to have more. It was an opportunity for you to have more influence for the people that are watching because now you have developed the discipline. I think about years ago, when I first started bodybuilding, and I remember the trainer would put these weights on the bars, and I'm like, oh my God, it's too heavy. I would be straining to lift it. But fast forward 6 months and 8 months, and that weight became too light. Why? Because I dealt with it. I lifted it. And my muscles became stronger. It wasn't that I grew more muscles. It's just that I developed the muscles that I had so that I could have the ability, I could increase my capacity to lift more, to accomplish more, and to do more. And we have to take on that same mindset when it comes to dealing with problems. You got to start lifting where you are so you can develop the tenacity. You can develop the diligence. You can develop the excellence to lift more. Problems are an indicator. Wait a minute. You're not strong enough to lift what's to come. So let's grow up. Let's develop. What if we took the mindset of when there's an elephant in the room that we hopped on board that thing and rode it around? I love this image. What if instead of ignoring the pink elephant, running from it, fleeing from it, forgetting about it, fighting it, what if we jumped on top of that thing and saddled it like a horse? Instead of seeing it as something sent to stop me and to hinder me, what if I see it as something that I'm supposed to get on so it can take me to my next location? It can take me to my next level. It can take me through the thing that used to be my ceiling, but now it can become my floor. What if our mindset shifted? And you guys know I can't talk to you without willing in a little bit of faith here because Hebrews 13:6 tells us, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. The Lord is my helper. I will not fear. That means whatever the problem is, I can face it. I don't have to fear it because I have help. I don't have to navigate this thing. I don't have to ride this thing. I don't have to overcome this thing in my own strength and in my own power. I have a helper. I have a helper. So I don't have to be afraid. I can faith up. I can suit up. I can show up. And I can go to the next level with confidence that God hadn't brought me this far to leave me. And that this problem, whether or not it was sent to develop me or it was sent to stop me, is irrelevant. Because greater is he that's in me than anything that can come my way. So I want us to think about this. You know, Sister Mona said this: great leaders think beyond yesterday, deal with the issues of today, and focus on addressing the problems of tomorrow. I'm going to say that again. Great leaders, great men, great women, great mothers, great visionaries, great employees, great sisters, great brothers, great whatever it is you want to be. We think beyond yesterday. Quit living your life looking through the rearview mirror at all the problems that you didn't solve and all the mistakes that you made. Deal with the things that you are facing right here, right now, and today. Deal with them as they come with the focus that whatever I have on my plate today, whatever I have to face today is literally a stepping stone for me to get prepared for whatever's waiting for me on tomorrow. Because yes, there are blessings on tomorrow. There's favor on tomorrow. There's provision and protection and all those wonderful things. But guess what else is coming with tomorrow? a whole nother set of problems. And I can't deal with the ones that are on the horizon, the ones that are coming, if I'm not going to woman up, or I'm not going to man up, or I'm not going to do what I got to do today with the ones that I'm currently facing. So I just want to challenge you with this last closing thought. You got problems? You want to navigate them? You want to deal with them fearlessly? Face it so you can fix it. Because there is no fixing until you face it. There is no getting to the other side until you look that thing square eyeball to eyeball and say, wait a minute. You don't get the last say. You don't get the final vote. You don't get to decide how far I go. You don't get to decide who I become. You don't get to decide what I have. No, I got to navigate that thing fearlessly. I got to navigate that thing with some focus. I got to face it. I have to face it. And once I face it, I can move past it. So make sure you tune in on next week. We have about 2 or 3 more lessons in this because navigating problems, y'all, it's a process. I wish I could say it happens just like that and you can just whatever, check it off and keep going. No, it's a process. It's a discipline. It's something that we have to develop. So look forward to seeing you on next week. Until then, do you to the max. God bless.